Hi everyone, my name is Jade Worrell. I'm a sophomore here at USD. I'm studying finance and real estate and minoring in Spanish and marketing. Some things I'm involved with on campus are I'm a student assistant. I'm also a social media intern for the undergraduate admissions office, and I'm also involved with the sorority Alpha Chi Omega. And we're so excited to have you all here with us today for another student session. And we're going to be discussing today the School of Business at USD. So without further ado, I'd love for all of our featured students to introduce themselves, and then we can answer these important questions that we have. So Matt, go ahead.
Hey guys, nice to meet you all. My name is Matthew. I am a junior here at USD. I'm a marketing major with a minor hoping to turn into a major for next year in business analytics, along with a minor in philosophy, politics, and economics. I'm out-of-state student from Redmond, Washington, which is near Seattle. And then on campus, I'm a part of InterVarsity, which is a Christian group that meets on campus. I am a Truro ambassador and tour guide. I've had the opportunity to be a part of Student International Business Council, or SIBC. I'm also in Beta Theta Pi fraternity and a few others, and I'm looking forward to being able to talk to you guys just a little bit about our experience here at USD.
And then Alex, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Alex. I'm a freshman and I'm from Huntington Beach, California. And I'm going to be majoring in business administration and double minoring in international business and law and ethics. And right now on campus, I'm a member of the Honors Club and the Honors Program. I'm in Truro Ambassador Program, as well as I'm part of the pre-law fraternity, Phi Alpha Delta, as well as the sorority Alpha Delta Pi. So I'm very excited to share my story at USD.
That's so awesome. Okay, and last but not least, Madison, go ahead.
Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Madison. I'm from Morgan Hill, California, so North Cal. And I'm a business administration major and a communications minor. And I'm also a junior. And on campus, I'm involved in Alpha Delta Pi, as well as I'm a Truro ambassador and a Truro tour guide, as well as clubs such as Make a Wish Club and Smile Club.
Oh my gosh, that was so awesome. You all are involved in so many things. That makes me so happy to hear. Okay, so Alex, let's start with you since you're a freshman. And so what are some of your expectations and thoughts coming to USD? Like, how did you kind of end up in the school of business?
Yeah, so for me personally, the business school at USD is the main reason why I chose to attend USD in the first place, just because I've heard so much about how strong and how prestigious it is. And I always knew that I wanted to have some type of major in the business school. And so I thought that USD would be a really great place to attend. Obviously, it's close to my hometown and it has the great beaches and everything about it. But the business school was the main factor for me. And it has so many diverse opportunities in the business school. And I knew that there was so many areas for me to grow and learn about business. So that was the main reason why.
Awesome. And then if either Madison or Matt, kind of like what, if you remember what your expectations were and kind of like if and how they were met, going into the school of business. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so I can go. So when I was looking for schools, being from Seattle was kind of between University of San Diego and then the Foster School of Business up at University of Washington. I think what I was really looking for was a prestigious business school, but also one that really prepared you for a job outside of college and allowed me like still an opportunity to explore what I wanted to do in business because I didn't know what specifically I wanted to do. I knew liked marketing a little bit from high school classes and doing DECA, but I didn't know exactly where I'd end up. So I actually started out my sophomore year as declaring as a finance student and then shifted to a marketing student. Hopefully I can talk a little bit on that story in a little bit with some of these questions. But yeah, I was really just looking for classes that kind of gave you a little bit of real world experience while also kind of educating me, especially in the business analytics side of how to use the computer, how to do research, how to market and understand accounting and economics and all these different things within the school, while again still preparing you for a job and giving you, either through clubs or through in-class projects, some hands-on experience. And since being here, especially taking upper division classes as a junior, I've really found that to be the case. As again, hopefully I can talk about in some of these stories, but like 3 of my classes right now, we're actually working with clients in San Diego, and being able to have them as references, put that on my resume, but also just seeing kind of what different jobs or different career paths look like through different types of projects. So for instance, I'm doing a marketing research project. I'm doing a few different business analytics project with a couple different clients with like economics, and then another marketing type analytics one, as well as a social media marketing project. So just kind of seeing the different sides of marketing as well, so that I can kind of know what specifically career path I want to go into while still kind of like dipping my hands into different sides of that major, which has been really cool.
Wow, that sounds so awesome. It looks like you're really taking advantage of like the whole liberal arts, like, and also like just exploring. That's awesome. Madison, do you want to share your kind of expectations?
Yeah, I can share. My expectations were a lot the same as Matt and Alex when coming in. I really liked that USD was a prestigious business school, but I really liked kind of what Matt spoke on about the core curriculum. I came into the business school not knowing what I wanted to do. So it was really important to me that I would be able to look at finance and look at marketing and look at accounting and look at all of those different things, so that I would know into the real world what I would actually want to major in and what I would want to have a career in. And one of the good expectations for me was I was really excited about the small classroom sizes, because that was really important to me, is I didn't want to be stuck in a 400-person lecture hall trying to learn economics from one professor that I couldn't exactly see. So that was one of the big expectations that USD definitely met, was having those big student to professor relations. And they've been great. I've talked to my professors about getting internships and different jobs. So they're a great resource. And that's something that's really met my expectations of how important the faculty is at the USD School of Business, and the small classroom sizes was really important.
And that was a perfect segue. I might ask you to expand on kind of like the faculty helping you. So did like your advisor play a role in your experience, or you're talking about how like some professors were talking to you about internships that kind of like helped you along the way, if you want to touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. Coming into USD, my first advisor was super helpful. She was my LLC advisor, and I was very much stuck between business and communications. So she was the one that really helped me figure out that I wanted to major in business. So we looked at different career opportunities and different things like that. And then going into the business school, a lot of my professors were really helpful, because I asked a lot of questions during class, and I would go to office hours and ask them about like how they got to their different careers and how they did their different career paths, along with figuring out what steps I should take to, if I wanted to do that career, or if I wanted to switch careers, how I would do that, and how each part of business fits into their career. And then with internships, they've been really helpful, especially during Zoom times. A lot of my professors have been like plugging different internships they've heard about for students, just because that's sometimes a little bit hard to find, but they've been super helpful in looking out for students. And not only myself, but like a bunch of my classes that I've been in, they've really been great at connecting us to different internships, or offering like extra credit if we go through this different internship thing, just to make sure that we're looking at it and networking.
That is so awesome. I'm glad that you had such a good experience with the faculty. Matt, Alex, do you guys have anything to share?
Yeah, I mean, I can share as well. I have a few different stories that I could probably pick from. But yeah, kind of one of them specifically that kind of relates to that small class sizes and just meeting my professors was the very first marketing class I took, Marketing 300. I took alongside of Finance 300, and I believe, yeah, my second semester of my sophomore year. And that was when I was still declared finance. And in my finance class, I didn't really love it. But I knew that I for sure wanted to stick with the business analytics minor through the information technology management class that I had taken freshman year, and just learning how to do analytics and work on some of those platforms, especially how relevant of a minor and major that is to have nowadays. nowadays. So I knew I wanted to do that, but I wasn't positive about my major. And so my marketing professor, it was an honors class, but it only had 10 students in that class. So I had gotten to know him super well throughout the year, and he knew like my learning style, my working style, how I presented, and just kind of like the type of person I was, at least to some degree. And especially having that be in a smaller classroom, he was really able to kind of like get to know me and me get to know him. So I came in to one of his office hours in one of the last weeks of that semester and just was talking with him about, I'm right now a finance major, but I don't love it. And I know that I like marketing, but wasn't sure like there's certain stereotypes about different majors, and I didn't know if I wanted to do that necessarily. And he was like, we just kind of talked about what he had done and why he had gone. He wasn't a marketing major. He had done something different, but he got into the field of marketing. And so we talked about how what you necessarily major in doesn't necessarily mean what you end up in, but it's also beneficial to do this. And if I'm doing analytics, that's kind of like a left side of the brain type studying and work, along with like marketing is a little bit more creative. And so I could kind of pair those together. And at the end of that, like I also met with a career development counselor. And so they aren't necessarily specifically business school. They help with all the different majors and all different students at USD. But I also went in with an advising session with them, and you kind of go through like different majors or different career paths, and you see like different role requirements in different positions, salaries, all kinds of things like that. And so just talking to my professor along with that career development advisor, I was able to decide that I wanted to switch to marketing. And since I've loved it, and I'm glad I have, but just being able to have that opportunity of having your professor know you that well is not uncommon. You'll hear stories about that. And I think I'm just another example of that. And so that's where I think those small class sizes you can really take advantage of if that's something you're asserting yourself and looking to, because your professors are really want the best for you as well. And I think those conversations are what they ultimately love to be able to have. So that's just my quick little story about really getting to know my professor that potentially even shifted my whole career path, which I think is pretty cool.
That is super cool. I remember I had my microeconomics teacher freshman year. I absolutely loved her. Like after I took the final for the class, she gave me a hug, and I will never ever forget that. And I was just like, you totally just sealed the deal. Alex, how has that been for you? I know because you started all virtually. So how any faculty, any like classes that have really like stuck out to you?
Yeah, so first off, it sounds like hearing both what Matt and Madison says that I am very excited to see what the future of in-person is going to be like in the business school. I'm definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, so with me being my first year and being online, I was definitely worried about my experience and what it was going to be like, if it was going to be harder or easier, or what that all was going to be like. But I was really lucky that my LLC professor, my very first semester, was actually for microeconomics. So he was a professor in the business school. So it was really helpful getting to talk to him during office hours just about my timeline and schedule and his recommendations of what types of classes to take in the future and for my major and just all of my interests in general. So it was really nice to have that special connection with him, and it made me a lot less nervous about what the business school was going to be like, especially like both in person and online, just not knowing what that was going to be like. And my essay for that class, my Scholastic assistant, was also really helpful just because she was also a business major. So she gave a lot of advice, and just her own personal experiences really helped me and definitely made me very solid on my choice of wanting to be a business administration major.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. And I'll just let whoever wants to start for this one. And have you guys participated in anything outside your classes that kind of has been an asset to your academic or career-oriented experience at USD, whether it's like, it could be really like anything related. But yeah, if anyone wants to shout out, go ahead.
Yeah, I can start on this one. As having been here for now 3 years, I've had the opportunity to kind of do quite a few different things. Even during COVID, there's still all kinds of opportunities to participate. I'll name off a few and then I'll maybe tell a story about one or two, but I've done things like Torero Treks, which when you end up coming here, you'll hear plenty about. But I got to go see a few different companies in San Diego, and I'll talk about that in just a moment, but I went to a career fair like every year, still virtually. I've been able to do those and meeting with different companies that come and set up booths at USD. Or virtually, along with like different speaker series or just having different speakers from different companies in San Diego will come talk about what they do as well. And those are hosted by different clubs, just the business school in general, and all kinds of different opportunities. Especially if you check your emails, you'll see those happen pretty much every week, a couple times a week. And then one club in specifically that I mentioned earlier was Student International Business Council, as that's a super common, popular one that a lot of students participate in, regardless of your major. As I know, I'm not an international business major, but I checked it out, and there are all kinds of different projects. And so, as early as my sophomore year, I had went my freshman year and kind of learned about the club and hadn't joined a project. But my sophomore year, I decided to do like a marketing consultation project with this small startup company in San Diego. And so me and a group of like 4 other students we're all kind of working with them, doing some sales, and ultimately trying to connect them better with the San Diego market and get their it was like an electric bike company, get their bikes into more stores and rental companies in San Diego. And so I was kind of the point of like talking different business to business relations and providing recommendations for them to do that. And so what was really cool is we got to work with the business school dean. He was kind of like the liaison for our project. He wasn't there all the time, but like he would come in and check on us, and just getting to know him was super cool and another like awesome little networking opportunity. But at the same time, it was a lot of like not knowing exactly what to do. And so there was a lot of getting help, a lot of talking to older students on like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And when we meet every week, we'd get different recommendations on like how to run a project like that. And by the end of it, just being able to have that opportunity on my resume as early as sophomore year, when I still wasn't exactly sure where I'd end up, what I was going to do. That was when I was still deciding on my majors, but having a project like that under my belt was super cool. And so again, that's the case in that club for many other students, but all kinds of different clubs, there's opportunities to get hands-on projects like that, especially when you're an underclassman and you're not getting as many like upper division type experiences like I am now, where I'm working with clients just in my classes. But when you're an underclassman, especially, being able to kind of like find clubs that provide those opportunities while you're still taking some of your core classes was a really cool experience that I had. And then, yeah, really quickly with the Torero Trek, I also did that my sophomore year, first semester, again, when I was still trying to figure out what my major would be and where I wanted to go. And so we went to a nonprofit company in San Diego and just seeing what they did and what that sort of job career path looks like, as well as I went to iHeartRadio, and so got to see what like a broadcasting booth looked like and what it means to kind of run a radio station, constantly like be looking for things to talk about, and just kind of like what that field looked like. Again, not necessarily something I want to do, but just seeing what a professional environment looked like and talking to professionals and kind of getting over that nervousness of talking to professionals during networking events, which we had a few of. One at I can't remember the company's name, but yeah, just getting to talk to professionals. And then last, I got to go to the San Diego Padres facility, and that was especially something that I was like, oh, this is super interesting. And being able to again talk to different fan engagement marketers and what it means to kind of like be a part of a sports environment, which I love sports. So it was just really cool to see those opportunities. And that was ultimately what I did it for. But then being able to go to those other companies of industries that I didn't necessarily think I wanted to do, but see what it entailed was really awesome. And so anyone that you talk to that go on Torero Treks, that's typically the case, and just learning about different industries and just seeing what it looks like, especially when you're an underclassman, is really fruitful for you just kind of deciding where it is that you want to go. And USD's business school really provides a lot of those opportunities, which is really awesome.
Yeah, I went on a Torero Trek as a freshman, luckily right before COVID happened in San Francisco. And that really helped me decide my major, because you get to see the types of people who work there and like their personality and stuff like that. And oh my gosh, I was so nervous. I remember the networking event, I was with a bunch of adults and I was like, whoa, I'm an adult now too. So yeah, definitely gives you a little step into the real world. Madison, do you have anything like that you experienced?
Yeah, a lot of the same things as I've done Turo Treks. I actually did Turo Treks all virtually, so I got on that a little late, but I've been able to do them virtually. So that's been really helpful about seeing like how the business world looks right now during COVID and how it's going to look going forward into, is remote working going to be a thing? Like, what are companies doing with that? So it was really, doing Turo Treks was a big part of my experience. I went in as business administration and I still didn't know if I really wanted to do it, or I was still confused. But by being able to talk to different professionals and seeing different things, even online, it was really nice to see that, see what they do on the day-to-day basis and have that very base networking quality that I now have this whole networking source that USD has been able to put me in, put me with, so that I'm able to use other Toreros, future Toreros, and past Toreros who have already graduated in order to see what the business world looks like and how I should navigate that and get different tips and tricks of stuff that I didn't know before I did a Torero Trek. So I think that's really been one of the biggest parts, one of the biggest helpful experiences being in the business school.
That's so awesome. I love hearing everybody's experiences. I'm gonna move on to the next question, but I want to start with Alex. So your first year is kind of coming to an end. So exciting. So I want to ask you what your most kind of meaningful experience that you've had at your time at USD, either like related to your major or like your future career, anything like that.
Yeah, so I think my most meaningful experience having to do with the business school so far, my first year, has been last semester. I actually attended the business school's open house to learn more about all the different majors and minors. And I already knew coming into attending USD that I wanted to major in business administration, but I just wanted to see the other opportunities that the business school had. And I was so impressed by the business school professors and the faculty members, and they were so passionate about everything that they were teaching, and they were so informational. And I'm definitely very glad that I attended, because I would have never considered any other opportunities besides business administration if I wouldn't have gone to that. And because of that, that's what sparked my interest in international business and law and ethics as my two minors. And so I'm really grateful for that opportunity. And I think it was a really informational and great way to just learn about the business school virtually. And it got me a lot excited for the future opportunities that I could have at USD.
That's so awesome. And I hope you're listening to Madison and Matt, because there's going to be a lot more opportunities for you to get super involved and more passionate about what you're into. And Matt, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so like I said, I've mentioned quite a few of the meaningful experiences that I've had. But I will say one that I've currently had the opportunity to be a part of that I did mention a little bit earlier was a marketing research class that I'm in. And I think it really has shown me what I want to go into as I near graduation in like a year, which is crazy. But yeah, we've been able to work with a client that does caretaking in San Diego. And so also the whole class is basically built around providing research and doing some exploratory research, and then developing hypotheses, and then creating qualitative research design and like survey design, and then running those surveys and then analyzing it, and then basically presenting our findings and a conclusion on like the best way and the most cost-effective way to conduct research for this ultimately platform for caretakers that they're making. But just being able to do a holistic project over the course of the whole like 3-month semester has really given me a sneak peek into like what that specific role and industry entails. And I have loved it. And just being able to have that experience and like I said, have a class where I'm also doing some social media marketing, which isn't necessarily my favorite, but being able to experience that and still kind of get a little bit of work doing that has also been a lot of fun. And so yeah, just having classes that really dive in, especially as you dig into upper division classes, is really nice to see like the specifics of different jobs within each industry, within each like career path or major. But specifically then with that class, that marketing research class, my professor, who I also had for a marketing analytics class a couple semesters ago, has brought in a few different previous students that work at this company called Group Solver, which they basically do marketing research, and they were developed in like 2012, and they've been a constantly growing company here based out of San Diego. And her husband was actually the founder of it. And so having had her twice and getting to know her super well, and then she, like I said, she's brought in students that work there, and they've come and presented to our class about what they do. And then we get to ask them questions. And then I've connected on LinkedIn and been kind of messaging back and forth with some of them about just like possible opportunities as I near graduation. That has been so fruitful for me, just in that it's kind of like shown me, whether I work there or not, but like kind of what exactly it is that I want to do post grad. Who knows where I'll end up in 5-10 years, as you'll come to find, especially in business. A lot of it is very fluid depending on where you're going to work, what your major is going to be, as you can tell from me in Madison, and as Alex, I'm sure you'll experience going forward. But just having kind of that goal and that company, like that dream job, that I really wasn't sure what it'd be, has been so awesome. And it's just really exciting as I've been able to, like I said, connect with some of those ex-students who work there. And especially what you'll find out about USD is that students who end up at certain companies who are USD students, because we are a little bit of a smaller school, it's much more of a community. So when they know that you're a USD grad, they're even more inclined and excited to get to know you and talk to you, and try and encourage you to apply there and try and connect you with who you need to be connected with. And so just being able to have that company and have my sights set on something like that has been really awesome. I think that this business school has prepared me extremely well for something like that.
That's awesome. I love how you use the word fruitful to kind of describe your experience. I would definitely agree. Fruitful is a perfect word. And Madison, do you want to share something?
I would fully agree with fruitful. That's definitely been my experience with the USD Business School. And I think the most meaningful experience for me was kind of, since USD Business requires all these different core classes within the business school, you really get a scope of the whole business environment. So I think that was coming in, that was something that was really meaningful to me, was that I got to see all the different types of business. I didn't just go straight into my major. I got to learn about all the different kinds of business. And I think that's been really helpful, along with taking, I think business leadership classes and classes such as business and society have been really helpful to me, because it really connected me with how business fits into the real world and how it fits into society, which I think is really important. And having those professors in so many different things, having so many different people to talk to about their experiences, has been probably the most meaningful to me, because I've gotten to weed out what I really want and what would work for me, what would not work for me. So I think that's been really the most meaningful part of being in the business school, is all the different people you get to talk to and all the different classes that you get to take.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. It's very diverse, and like I was very surprised with how many different aspects were kind of like in business. And kind of, I'm glad you got the opportunity to explore all of that. And I think that's all the questions I have for you guys today. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your spring break for me. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.